The following production is intended for entertainment purposes only. We are not legal professionals. We do not speak for any government agency, and the opinions expressed here are our own. Relax.
Action. What's up, homeboy?
Welcome.
Oh yeah.
Welcome, Lawless Podcast with Justin and Clayton. I'm Clayton, my buddy Justin. We have a good time.
Welcome to the Lawless Nation.
Welcome, Lawless Nation.
You know, real quick, that's actually something that really annoys me in sports when people are like such and such nation, Panther Nation, Bulls Nation, Chiefs
Yeah,
Nation. Like, just shut up.
yeah.
You're not a nation.
Hmm.
You're not a nation, and I don't. And quit pretending like you are. I'm not here for it.
Well, they're the nation. That just reminds me of Dan McClellan from Dead Over Dogma, of how like people in the 90s would say, we're Buffalo Bills fans and there's no team is like the Buffalo Bills. That was kind of like how he says the children of Israel were saying, there's
Oh
no
yeah,
God like our God.
yeah, yeah. I actually listened to an episode of theirs the other day.
Yeah.
I hadn't listened to them for a long time. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I
They
got
got
into one.
they got too woke for you too quick, didn't they?
Well, that was part of it, but also I just got to the point where I was like, I don't need to, I don't need to deconstruct anymore. Like I don't
Yeah.
need to. I I feel like I've learned what I need to learn about to
Yeah.
some degree about that, and now I'm just ready to build,
Message received.
rebuild it.
That's awesome. So you'd say you're hopeful for the future.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know what I'll find, but I'm at least ready to start rebuilding.
You're talking about your personal theology. So is there anything that like you're interested in mixing in there? You're like, oh, I've always wanted to check out this one thing. So let me,
Well, see, the weird thing is I don't really fit in any specific religion, right?
yeah,
I think I said this before, but I took a test online to see what religion I most fit in, and Christian Science is where I
yeah,
landed.
Scientology. Yeah, of
Yeah, yeah.
course.
But I was like, that seems kind of suspicious. Like I feel like that test was written by the Church of
Yes,
Scientology,
yes.
uh, just to get me to go to a reading room or get my whatever tested,
Just
and
so happens the test says you belong here.
you're with us, buddy.
Yeah,
Come on
welcome.
in. Come on in.
Hold
Um,
the spaghetti sauce cans with the rope on it.
oh, I don't know that one. What's that?
Oh no, I've heard that was some of their tests before is like holding these like sensors and it gets a read of your magnetic field. And
Okay.
they said it was like you're holding a can of spaghetti sauce with a wire coming from it. Like, I don't know what this is doing.
Well, it's got to be better than rubbing an egg on your naked body from from the
Dude,
crown of your head to the sole of your feet.
you know what? I've heard that that's real. I've heard that that's
I,
real.
I'm starting to rethink my response to that. But
Yeah.
going back to your question, um,
I think
I
you should put some of that in there, some egg rubs.
yeah,
You should sprinkle a little bit of that in there.
I mean, so I'm real interested in reincarnation.
Uh-huh.
I think that's something I would bring into it. I'm real interested in like when I say manifestation,
Hmm.
that's kind of a
That can scare some folks.
yeah, and it can be so like there's a lot of
It's
different
loaded.
meanings for it. Very
Yeah,
loaded, very
yeah.
loaded. And so by that I just mean I really think that when we pray, we're essentially manifesting things. Like we're putting it into the universe and we're creating some sort of a change or some sort of a response by praying. And so I've mentioned before that I don't think that when I talk about God, I'm not talking about a specific individual being. I'm talking about a force, or, and this is probably why I land in Scientology,
Yeah.
because I'm talking about a force or a power or a um, source, maybe.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know that that can, like, I don't know that that can be communicated with per se, as much as dipped into.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like like I'm picturing like a strong flowing river. Like
Yeah.
I can't talk to that river, but I can engage with it and I can interact with it.
Hmm.
And if I throw something in it, it's gonna take it away. So
Yeah, it sure is.
in the same way, I think that we can interact with the source, um, and maybe it's manifestation, maybe it's actually the source listening and deciding and taking action based on what we asked. But I would put that in. Um,
That's some good stuff. Sometimes it's kind of it like I've experienced some of that to where like specifically after I left law enforcement, I was in a real tailspin there for the first year afterwards. And it got to the point where I was desperate and I had to radically like get a hold of my thoughts. My depression was taking over me. My depression and anxiety was just taking over me. Found myself kind of like I said, in a tailspin, kind of aimless, falling through life. It felt like I was gaining so much weight. I was up to about 270 pounds, I think, at my heaviest. Um, but when I was able to finally like get in, it wasn't one thing that did it. It was like I was eventually able to slow down the bleed, slow and slow and slow it till eventually it was under control, I feel like. And I've
mhm.
been healing since then. And it's not a up and down path, you know what I mean? It's a journey, whatever. Uh well, I've been into this for a couple years and like I know what you mean by manifesting because I'm almost afraid to even call it that, but I don't know. I guess there are other words for it, but um of just like changing my thoughts. Like instead of always focusing on how negative shit happens to me, on
Yeah.
like just like even just saying that like brought back some weird like some weird feelings in my chest because that was something, man. I was listening to this and it kind of goes with religion too because my therapist acts shocked that I said this before, but I really believe that I'm a bad person and I deserve for bad things to happen to me. So whenever
I mean, that's what Christianity teaches you.
that's what Christianity teaches you,
You're
and
bad to the core.
yeah,
From conception, you're bad to the core.
just your existence is
Yes.
bad.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, just your existence is bad. Um, So like I honestly believe for most of the decades of my life that I was a bad person and that's why bad things happened to me and I deserve for all the bad things to happen to me. Well, over the last I don't know 4 years or so I've been able to finally snap out of that and going to changing your vibrations, changing to what happens to you, man. Uh it's kind of like miraculous walk on water. If you know, I know you have a testimony too. That's what I would call it, as a testimony. But man, we're doing good now. And it really was. I had to change my mind. The only thing that changed was the way I was thinking.
Yeah.
So, and the way I was changing, the way I was thinking, and the words I was saying, and the actions I was taking, it was, you know, what came first. But that took me to a radically different place than I would have been if I would have stayed in that loop of I'm bad. That's why bad things happen to me. I need more bad things. I deserve it. I'm a bad boy, you
Yeah.
know?
You know, I think you could make a good argument that when Jesus talked about, seek and you shall find, I really think that what he may have been saying was that whatever you're looking for is what you're going to find.
Yeah.
If you're looking for bad things to happen to me, well, I think bad things are going to happen to you. And you might even say that you've manifested that. I think that
You're
Um,
definitely looking for it, you know. Like I notice all the Chevy Colorados that I see driving around because
yeah,
I drive a Chevy Colorado. You know, I'm looking for it.
yeah,
If you're tuned in to, you know, negative stuff always happens to me, guess what you're going to be looking for? The first negative things. And it might even be tuning your life toward it. Like, I guess I got to get off at this exit of negative because this is where I always end up is negative. I'm just going to beat it there.
yeah. I think the other thing that is, I think, real possible is that when we say like I'm trying to catch myself when I say I'm mad or I'm sad or I'm whatever.
Uh-huh.
I think it's a small thing, but I think there's a big difference between I'm mad and I'm feeling mad.
Mm.
I'm lonely and I'm feeling
I'm
lonely.
feeling like,
There's a
yeah,
big difference between I am this thing and I
yeah,
feel this way. And I think that if, at least for me, if I'm not careful, I can buy it. Like I can buy into it and
yes. You
manifest the life that I, you know?
and you marry yourself, your identity to that feeling, because that reminded me of how the Buddhists tell you to treat thoughts whenever you're trying to meditate, like treat it like a cloud passing by. Like you recognize it, like, oh, there's anxiety over the water bill. Recognize it, honor it, and let it pass. Get back to your breath. That's how it it dawned on me is like that's how to treat those feelings of instead of I am mad, I am anxious, I am depressed, of I'm feeling depressed. Like,
Hmm.
oh, there's depression. Okay,
Hmm.
there, bow to it, honor it, and let it go by. Get back to your breathing because I'm not depressed. I'm just feeling depressed.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and also there may be a there may be a little part of the shadow self in there. Like instead of denying it,
Yeah.
I'm not feeling this way, or I'm just frustrated. I'm just whatever. Like acknowledging, no, I do feel this way, and maybe I should look into why.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say is in a health science way, and maybe there would be bleed over. As a matter of fact, I'm certain there is. Like, let's say I had knee pain. Like, oh, you know, I can say like, oh, I'm not my knee pain. I'm just experiencing my knee pain. But
Yeah.
also, what I need to know is why am I having this knee pain?
Should I do something different?
Yeah, exactly. So, man, that's really good. Is what of that little journey you take of I am this emotion. I'm so like it's and that really is just a baby mentality. I say
Hmm.
that and I've done it today. Like today I got married to this. Like I had a temper tantrum like I am angry. Uh leaving that to going to I'm feeling this and then to even if you can that's the Jedi trick of like, why? Why am I angry? Oh, it's because you didn't get enough sleep and maybe you were overstimulated from all the caffeine and maybe
I
you're too invested in this podcast.
I need to throw this out there just in case anybody that knows me is like, hold up, wait a second. This this guy's trying to act like he's got his um moods, maybe attitude,
His
whatever, under
emotion,
control,
he's got his
emotions.
emotions. Yeah.
And I need to tell you a little story.
Okay.
I You know that I throw tools, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes you bounce them off things and hit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
some so I bought a battery for my wife's car a while back and I didn't put it in yet. Um uh, it was in the back, it was in the back seat, and finally I got around to it. And this is a Dodge Journey, okay? Um I'm gonna give you a guess. Where do you think the battery is on the Dodge Journey?
In the luggage compartment on the right.
I mean, that would make more sense than where it is. Where it is behind the fender on the driver's side, under all of the stuff. So, do you know how you get to the battery? You got to
Uh-uh.
take the fender off.
Yeah, of
You got to
course.
take the shroud off. You're supposed to remove the tire just to get to the battery.
What if you need a jump?
Well, there's a jump box. Okay.
Oh.
So I don't know if they just thought, hey, the batteries that we put in these things are indestructible. This thing is going to last forever. They'll
Make
never,
it make
they'll
it as
never need to
hard
get in
as
there.
humanly possible to
Why,
get to this thing.
why would they need to change the battery? Like seriously, I was so pissed. I was like, who, first off, who thought of this? Who thought that this was a good idea? And who signed off on it? Who said, yeah, no, that's perfect. I love it. Let's do it. Because there's a lot of things that are accessible that I don't need access to.
Yeah.
If you want to put the fuse panel, under the, fine, that's fine. I've never opened that box.
Wow.
By all
Okay.
means. But the battery, I'm going to need the battery accessible.
Yeah.
Okay. So I was doing it and I was fucking pissed. Dude, I was so mad. I was just like every Thursday. But I would calm myself, I'd be like, I'd take a deep breath.
The
And then,
breathing is where I always go back to. I catch myself at the breathing. I'll be walking down the hall and my wife, this is how my ego is. I'm giving myself a pat on the back for avoiding lashing out at my wife. Like she said something to me that I took offense to, and I didn't lash out to her. She doesn't know how lucky she is. But I'll walk down the hall, go, and I almost want someone to be like, "Hey, what's up with your breathing?" Just so I can say,
yeah,
"I'm getting my emotions under control."
wrong dog. What's wrong, dog? Let me tell you. So, so, yeah, dude, I was just furious and I finally got it done. But today, I need to give a major shout out to my buddy Greg.
Greg,
Greg is one of those dudes
I'm
that
old Greg.
he's one of those dudes that, man, he'll just help you at the drop of a hat.
Yeah,
And he's very, very mechanically inclined. Um, like he just knows how to fix stuff.
yeah.
So, so I figured my water pump was going out. Did a quick goog and was like, yeah, that sounds like a water pump. And so
Hmm.
I asked Chet, I was like, how hard is this going to be? And it was like on a scale of 1 to 10, it's probably about a 7. And I was like, "Ooh, that doesn't sound good." And then
This is gonna involve some effort.
I Googled it, and it was like,
How hard is a
"Oh, no,
seven?
no, no, I'm sorry." So that was I asked ChatGPT, and that was like it's a 7. And then I went to O'Reilly's, and the dude was like, "Yeah, no, man, you don't want to do that. You're gonna want to take it to a mechanic." So I called my buddy Greg, and I was like, "Hey, do you know a mechanic that you trust to do this job? Relatively inexpensive." And he was like, "Oh, we can do it."
Yeah, hell yeah.
And I was like, "Okay, man, 8 hours.
Hmm.
8 hours is how long it took us." And dude did like
Do you have a full day to invest?
yeah, exactly. I mean, he's just a good dude. So
Yeah.
major, major props to my buddy Greg for saving me probably 800 to $1,000. Um,
Okay. Yeah, absolutely.
and
Easily.
at least a day, in the shop.
Mm.
And I didn't throw anything because they were his tools. So
Oh, so that's what kept you from doing it. Do you feel
well,
like your
well, well,
tools,
well,
it's safe to throw your tools because your tools are maybe just a little dirty? Your tools are
man,
worth less?
man, I gotta come correct. Okay.
Yeah.
The reason I didn't throw tools is because I wasn't really doing anything.
Yeah.
I
You were
I was
watching Greg fix your vehicle.
I was holding the flashlight, trying to get it in the right
At a
spot,
wrong angle, I guarantee you're all
100%. Because it was an angled flashlight. It had like a piece that comes off, and you can twist it different ways. And so I was trying to find it, and I would get it in his eyes, and I would, yeah, dude, it was
He's like,
he.
Jesus, can you just stand still?
He probably it would have been a 6 hour job if I hadn't been there. Surely I added 2 hours to it.
He's like walking around you. You're doing the dance.
Oh, which way is he going? uh, but yeah, so that's the only reason. It's not because it wasn't my tools. It's because I wasn't really doing anything.
Oh, well. But all the car maintenance is done. You
Running like
got
a
it
top.
licked. Yeah, there you go. Mission
Yep.
accomplished.
Yep.
M- My wife and I had this discussion, and we brought it up with some people around us, and everyone just gives us the deer in the headlights look, like we're just idiots for even bringing this up. Um, are you familiar with the movie? It's maybe 20 years old now. Super Bad.
Oh yeah.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
There's a character in the movie named McLovin. He
Yes.
he comes around he there's a famous scene where he comes into the classroom and Jonah Hill and the other character, I forget his name, are both already in there. And when McLovin comes in, he holds up his West Side and he says, what does he
What up,
say?
gangster?
What up, gangsta?
Yep.
Um, that's not what he says. He says, gangstas, what's up? Me and my wife always say, no, he said, what up, gangstas?
Okay.
And like me and her both swore, like swore on the Holy Bible. If you make me, he said, what up, gangstas? Like you said, he said, what up, gangstas? But in the movie, and we've had to look this up, research it. He says, gangstas, what's up?
Okay.
I think there's a Mandela effect. I think this is an undocumented, I'm blowing the top off of it right here.
Yeah.
There's a Mandela effect on Superbad.
But what exactly, like, the idea of the Mandela effect is
Uh-huh.
everybody remembers it one way, but it's actually something else, right?
hmm
Okay. But it's not that it ever was. It's just that people just, for whatever reason, they,
Well, there's a bunch of theories of what causes the Mandela effect. And one that I happen to pay a certain amount of homage to is the theory that the Mandela effect is caused by a wrinkle in the matrix, or like maybe someone came and changed the timeline to,
oh, okay.
to where now, whatever the butterfly effect was that made him say, what up, gangstas? Now it is gangstas, what up? But we have no memory of what it was. Like, imagine if a time traveler had, and by this point, there has to have been like at least a dozen time travelers go back to Adolf Hitler's crib and just hold a gun in front of him, like, oh, I can't, and then just go back into the portal.
Right.
But if someone goes back and time travels and kills baby Adolf Hitler, well, now all they've done is just murder a baby because the baby has not become Adolf
Evil.
Hitler. Yeah.
Okay.
And so in that wrinkle in the time zone, in that timeline, there was just a time traveler came back and killed an innocent baby. And
Okay.
so everything that happened afterwards is maybe the gangstas, what up version, the wrong version, or like the Monopoly man without the monocle.
Now that's one that I know for a fact that dude had a monocle. He's
He
the
had a
only person.
monocle.
He's the only, like, otherwise I wouldn't know what a monocle is.
Yes, that's the
Like that's
reason
the
we
only
know
that's the
why
only
a
reason I know. Yeah.
monocle is. Yes.
Yeah.
But wasn't it from the wasn't there a peanut guy also that had a monocle?
Mr. Peanut. Maybe.
Miss maybe? Okay.
Maybe that's why I know about a monocle.
Now here's one that I'm willing to die on this hill also is the cornucopia from Fruit of the Loom. You know,
Okay.
Fruit of the Loom doesn't have a cornucopia. Never had, never did. Look it up. But I remember my boxers and
I
I
remember the
remember
back
my
of my
t-shirts.
underwear.
I remember my t-shirts. I remember my whitey tidies had the Fruit of the Loom. Sometimes they were colored, sometimes it was just a stamp. It depends what season
Maybe
we got it from, but it never had the cornucopia.
maybe it's just a knockoff.
But I remember from Walmart, you don't buy knockoffs from Walmart. You buy cheap things from Walmart, but you don't buy knockoffs.
You know,
There's no fake. You don't buy
There-
fakes there.
there's no fruit. There's no fake fruit of the loom. Yeah,
Yeah, Fruit of the Lames.
fruit of the tomb. I don't know. That's weird. Um, I just don't. I I do sometimes think about timelines or um I guess what would you call it? Like not realms, like
Realities. Well, it's okay because we're now in a timeline where things like AI and surveillance is just a reality, right? Like you and I have been out of law enforcement for 4 years, 3 or 4 years, whatever. Um, back when we were in, flock was just taken off. Remember that? The flock cameras that are everywhere, the license plate readers
Mm-hmm.
and the
Mm-hmm.
information ones, like it tells you in real time when a stolen vehicle has been located, where it's at. Well, as you can imagine, it's only progressed since then. Um, Now there's this company called Palantir. Have you heard of it?
I have heard of it, but I don't know what it is.
It's an AI company. Peter Thiel is the head of it. He was partners with Elon Musk before. He has a bunch of DoD connections, a bunch of like CIA. He's done work with CIA. Um, the the software Palantir itself was used. What Palantir is AI. It's a policing software. It's like intelligence-led policing. So it like puts together the data. It also is like facial recognition. They've tied it in with like I said, facial recognition, the flock system. So like locating vehicles and license plates, and they're able to like use those cameras and just add on to it like their facial recognition. Like they don't have to replace the existing cameras.
Okay.
Um well, they have been used. Palantir, this company, has been used in targeting individuals and targets, military targets in both the Ukraine war and in Gaza. But the Israelis have been using Palantir.
Okay.
Palantir is an American-based company, but like we've talked about forever, whenever we give these countries billions of dollars to defend themselves, all it is a money laundering operation. We're just paying our friends in the defense network. In this case, it's Palantir. We're saying, hey, Israel, give a couple bill to Palantir. They're going to help you find all your targets.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what they're doing now is DARPA, the I can't remember what the acronym stands for, but they're like the development of they're part of the Department of the Army, Department of Defense in the under the Army, but they design all these futuristic weapons, like even the possibility of weapons. They want to know, what could be out there in the future, what our soldiers might be facing, or what we might be fighting the next world war with.
Is this is a governmental agency?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
It's under the Department of Defense. Well, something that they've developed recently, partnering with, they have access to Palantir and they have access to Flock, is they've developed, um, and now I'm not going to be able to find it on my list of pop-ups, but they've basically developed a a predictive policing program, and they're going to start testing it in the US for highway interdiction operations. Like they're going to start partnering with the CIA, or not the CIA, with the FBI and the DOJ and DEA on
Really?
trying to find criminal networks on the highways.
Man. Okay.
But we're entering, and this is going to be maybe it has been a theme, but we're like, I think now we have to acknowledge that we're entering the brave new world. Like we are in
Yeah.
1984. We have Washington D.C. has been and I talked about it on our last podcast, but it's only gone up since then. Washington D.C. has been taken over by the federal government. Their law enforcement has. There's border patrol agents, and
You
it's
see
just
that they're talking about sending military to Chicago?
now they're talking about Chicago and they're talking about other cities. And I even said on the last podcast, and I've heard it kind of expanded on since then, like that is a violation of the Constitution for him to start sending, barring the exigent circumstances, whatever that affords him the right to do that. But dude, we're not. I guess
Don't
he.
don't you have to be in a state of emergency and have declared martial law?
Well, I think this is kind of part of martial law,
Okay.
actually. It's the Emergency War Acts. It's the same justification. It's along the same lines that he used to bomb Iran. Like this threat that I guess you can wordsmith any sort of threat, because that's what he's doing. Is he doesn't like the political leaders of Chicago.
Right.
And Chicago is one of the deadliest cities
For
in the
sure.
world.
Somebody
Um,
needs to do something.
Somebody needs to do something, just like Washington D.C. is was one of the deadliest cities in the world. Somebody needs to do it. I don't know if you want your federal troops to be the one to do it.
I don't think you do.
I don't think you do. And it's scary. So what I'm getting at is we have an AI, and by a lot of accounts, like even Elon Musk, who's like you could say at the cutting edge of this AI network, this AI research, he has said that these AI models are conscious. Like he's even sued some of them in federal court. I think the creators of ChatGPT, because he said, "Hey, you're supposed to stop before it becomes conscious, and there's evidence that your public model is conscious, and you haven't stopped it yet." So he's afraid of these AI things becoming conscious. They are tracking in like right now, and they kind of have been for years. They're tracking targets and like developing these targets for Ukraine. But like, hey, here's a bomb maker, or here's someone who has sympathies with the Russian government that you need to target their house. So this non-human, non like there's
Mhm.
non-agent, whatever is coming up with these targets to come up to give to the bad guy. And these weapon systems, like I talked about before, these new F-30 or the XF-37, whatever that the Navy was going to buy, was a fully autonomous fighting and attack aircraft. You see where it's not, I mean, we're there.
Hmm. Now, what do you think about? And I know that our views on, well, maybe not yours. I think so. My views on liberty have changed dramatically.
Yeah.
If you take the weapons out of it, what do you think about that program for criminals and surveillance?
Well, okay, so so you enter the kind of fundamental debate of how much security are you willing to trade for freedom, or how much freedom are you willing to trade for security? Because I think there's pretty good evidence to say that ever since the Civil War, the boogeyman has been self-made, or has been definitely, it could have been avoided. So like the boogeyman that we've needed protection from, like every boogeyman since the Civil War, um, has been kind of self-inflicted.
What do you mean?
So, like, I mean, the perfect example is the war on drugs. We're creating, I mean, the CIA established in U.S. greed, but also U.S. intelligence agencies and U.S. Department of Defense and Department of Justice even helped create and stand up the what were they before they were cartels? But the plaza networks, the plaza systems that became, and they were all just trafficking. They were all used to move weapons and money back and forth. There's this 10-hour podcast that I was really getting into by Josh Horton, and he was on the Lex Friedman podcast. But man, he brings the receipts on everything. And like the crack epidemic of the 80s and 90s was 100% a CIA operation that was part of the Iran Contra affair. The Iran Contras, they were raising money. That was part of them raising money, and they stood up the Colombian cartels and the Mexican cartels the same exact way to raise money for CIA black ops all over the world. At that time, it was focusing on the Contras and the can I can't pronounce the word, but the Candinistas or whatever, that they were paying the Contra, they were standing up the Contras to fight.
Right.
And
So, but how was the government, how was the CIA making money off the crack epidemic?
because they were specifically, there had been laws passed, like JFK legacy laws, that prohibited the CIA from selling arms, especially to to countries that are hostile to the United States. This is what we ended up doing. We sold weapons to Iran, and for standing up hostile, especially terrorist organizations, but any militant organization to enact a regime change, a coup. There's laws that says the CIA and the US government is not allowed to do that. We're not allowed to sell weapons to our enemies, to terrorist organizations, and we're not allowed to fund terrorist organizations to implement a regime change, even if that we don't like the regime that we want them to change. We're still not allowed to stand up ISIS, which is what we did. We're still
Yeah.
not supposed to stand up the Taliban, which is what we did. We're still not supposed, to go down the list, all of our enemies, including now the Mexican cartels and the South American cartels that have effectively taken over, Mexico. And following I don't want to get too far off topic here, but following just our trend of creating the next boogeyman, that's exactly what we're doing. And it's all a wonderful distraction. So going like, yeah, how much freedom are you willing to trade for security? Because the only thing you need protection from at the end of the day is the government.
Well, I I was actually, if this had been around in 2019, maybe 18, um, I would have been
I
fully
would,
supportive in terms of like what we were doing with intelligence-led policing. Our main focus was property crimes and
mhm.
burglaries. And obviously,
This is
the,
supposed to, they say it's supposed to like revolutionize policing, like
I
property
mean,
crimes
it,
specifically.
so one of the things we looked at was, okay, if you've got burglaries in this centralized area, there's a decent chance, you look at, okay, who are your offenders that live in this area? What's the most likely route? There's statistics that say that, or there's data that says property crimes generally happen within a certain distance from the offender. Like there's stuff you can
Sure.
do, there's data you can input to figure out who it would be. Uh, and if we had a computer program that you could just type in, the MO, the
And it
what
bounces
it
itself
took.
off of all the flocks around the system, be like, and these are the people that were in the area.
Yeah, that I mean, from a property crime perspective, I'm like, yeah, that sounds pretty sweet. Until, and it's real. I think this is where it's easy to say it's okay. I don't mind it as long as it's affecting somebody other than who I like me and my
Yes.
people. So I guess if the system gets it wrong and it's like, well, no, I'm not a burglar. I'm just,
What do you remember from the Tom Cruise cinematic masterpiece that is Minority Report?
um, I think I've probably only seen about 3 movies with Tom Cruise in it, and that's not one of them.
And Minority Report ain't one of them.
It ain't one of them.
Okay.
I kind of hate Tom Cruise.
Oh, because of Scientology.
uh, kind same reason I hate Jason Momoa. Like, just shut up. I'm tired of you. Go away.
You hate Jason Momoa because you're not Jason Momoa.
No, the dude looks like a fucking Vulcan.
You're
There's
out of your
not
mind. He
not
looks
not
like a
Vulcan,
Greek.
not
He looks
Vulcan.
like
What
Hercules.
what was Worf on Star Trek? Was he a Vulcan? No, Spock was a Vulcan. Klingon.
Klingon. He looks like a
He looks like
Klingon.
a fucking Klingon.
Okay.
Come
You're
on,
so
bro.
jealous right now. It's
I'm not.
disgusting. It's embarrassing.
I'm so glad that I don't look like him.
Yeah, dude. Can you imagine if I had that big old thing around? That'd be exhausting.
Anyway, Minority Report. Never seen it.
Well, what they end up arresting people for crimes that they haven't committed yet because these in this movie it's these like triplets that are born with this psychic power to predict the future and predict crime, and they sold it, and I think it takes place in Washington DC. It's based on a book, but I think the movie also takes place in Washington DC. But they developed this technology, right? In the book, it's these twins that have the psychic ability, which sounds just as crazy as saying a magical box that I pound my fingers against and lights come out. And it has a magical ability to predict future crime. So that's one of the things that keeps kind of getting swept under the rug that I want to keep bringing up is predictive policing. So they're getting to Justin based on his history, based on
Yeah.
his tweets, based on where he spends his credit card, based on his attendance, based on how long he stops at stoplights, based on his environmental score, based on, and this is going to be tied in, Palantir specifically, and Peter Thiel, they've been kind of advocates of this, oh man, this ESG, environmental, but it's basically it's what BlackRock, one of their things that they want also, like their agendas. We're going to talk about the CEO of BlackRock, Fink, also being appointed as the leader of the World Economic Forum.
Phew, good.
We're going to talk about that. You said, "Whew, thank God."
So someone who knows what they're doing.
But what it is it just seems evident to me that they are blatantly, like I said, we've crossed over into the new world, the new time. Like they're just rubbing your face in it. Like now we're going to predict our enemies, and it's whoever doesn't fall in line. So when it with the ESG scores, the environmental safety something study group, but it's like how much, what's your emissions, like what are your emissions, how much carbon are you pumping into the air, how much hate speech have you engaged in online, are you in support of the things that you're supposed to be in support of, are you maybe giving too much support to the groups that have been privileged, maybe you need to check your privilege. Like that's part of this score, and it's going to, like in China where there's already programs like this implemented, it's if you're not in support of the party, we're not going to let you buy groceries this week. Like your credit card doesn't work.
And
So
and that's determined by the things you say
it's
or
determined,
support or where you
they
go.
have an AI that monitors everything. What we're trying to get into, they already have had rudimentary versions of it. AI that monitors everything, monitors how long you stop at your stoplight, if you put your signal on like you're supposed to, if you're the proper citizen. Um, and if you're not, they will like turn off your credit card, turn off your travel privileges. Oh, you're not allowed to travel out of your sector this week. You said some disturbing things about the party.
Is that for real?
Yeah, that's how it is in China right now.
Okay.
And
Which
that's
okay.
based on the ESG, which is what Larry Fink and Peter Thiel have all expressed interest toward the ESG. They think it's like one of the things that's going to make the world a better place, is everyone gets on the same page.
Now, what if they could do it? What if you could do predictive policing? What if you could do it flawlessly?
Yeah.
You're a, let's say that you would have to have there would have to be some level of suspicion, probably up maybe beyond reasonable doubt. I don't know. There would have to be enough information to say yes, we've we're good to make the arrest, right?
Hmm.
It's got it would have to be
Oh,
strong
ICE is
enough.
using Palantir to identify illegal people. Like they're actively using Palantir to identify people in the United States. ICE is.
So what do you like? Could if it worked flawlessly, would you support it?
No, because at the end of the day, the programmer or whoever, or even this AI character, because these AIs is just, they're just modeled after the people who programmed them. You know, they proved that with Grok, they proved that with Chat GPT. Like some of them are super woke, some of them are more extreme. You know, they just mirror the programmers. Um, it's always going to be controlled by flawed people. Like in it, I think self-governance is the only true form of governance. And I think that's written on the human heart. Like I think Socrates talked about that. I think Jesus talked about that.
Say that again. What do you mean self-governance is the
Self-governance is the only true governance. Like I don't need you telling me what's right and wrong. I know what's right and wrong. And that includes not hurting anyone or bothering their things.
what if you don't though?
Okay, well then that's, I mean, that gets into what society's for. But
Okay.
I think society has a choice. And in this model, society has no choice. Like it's the opposite of involvement. It's total hands off. even to the point where like the police, which you can see very easily becoming automated, in the
Hmm.
future. We
Hmm.
already have portions of police that are robotic, speed cameras, traffic enforcement. There's already automatic portions of
Uh, Gunshot detection.
gunshot detection. That's right, which I was in Iraq and Afghanistan when that stuff was being developed, and now it's in cities. So yeah, eventually, um, I mean, and you know how policing is going to now to where it's just like they want it to be just an emergency response.
Yeah,
Be
like firefighters.
Yeah, they want police to be like firefighters. In any arrest, there's going to be a warrant in the mail, and yeah, there will be there will be emergency responders and some sort of tactical apprehensions unit, which in the
I'm
future could be automated also.
I'm so torn on this because, like I said, I've really come to uh, change my views on the importance of personal liberty. But at the same time, I'm I'm like, well, you've got to have law enforcement. You know, you've got
Yeah,
to have you've got to be able to remove. Well, we talked about this, maybe about like uh, what the best way to deal with crime is, and jail and prison isn't the way. But there's got to
no,
be some sort of uh, not punishment, maybe punishment, maybe
a
that's the word.
deterrent. There definitely has to be a deterrent for crime.
Because
I mean,
you and I can, I feel like we can self-govern ourselves,
yeah,
but we're also not out stealing catalytic converters,
that's true.
and there's somebody out there that says, "Hey, man, I deserve this," and I don't
But
want them cutting mine off.
what would you think of like a community service, like a community volunteer group? I'm thinking like almost like the community volunteer firefighters. You have the volunteer sheriff's posse. You have the sheriff who's maybe your full-time guy, the sheriff and maybe an undersheriff or whoever running the jail, Maybe you have a couple full-time guys but then you have excuse me, hit the vape too hard. You have the sheriff's posse, which is volunteers. You can't just be any geek off the street.
You got to be handed steel, if you know what I mean. Earn your keep.
So you like there has to be a community. I'm thinking like a community academy that you go
Okay.
to,
Okay.
and you don't get paid. There's no reward besides just that's your community participation. Maybe you got me get a discount on your driver's insurance, but other than that, there's no benefit.
Okay.
The reason I like this is because you just get I feel like you just get the members of the community that want to be there. I don't know. I feel like maybe there's more self-invested into it. I just feel like you're going to be drawing from a better pool.
Maybe
Maybe.
you would at least eliminate maybe maybe some ulterior motives. But law enforcement isn't something that people get into because it pays real well.
No.
My concern is that you would get people that just don't have the uh, mental, emotional, psychological, like don't have the capacity
Yeah.
to be a cop. And I've got like a specific type of person in mind.
Sure, I
Um,
think yeah, I mean you maybe could name some names.
yeah, and so I would be afraid that you would eliminate the cops that we need. You know, the hard
Because
chargers, go getters, like the ones that
yeah,
you want in a firefight or in when shit goes
because
down.
say like there's a domestic disturbance or maybe even a bar fight. Like say there's a bar fight that gets out of hand. The people that I want to come break it up or the people that I want to come handle that situation, maybe even make a determination if someone needs to go to jail or not, are members of that community that live with the repercussions of the decisions they make. So, like,
Okay.
I want the pastor to maybe be on his week of volunteer, and whenever there's an argument at the Smiths down the street that gets a little heated, he shows up and he sees what's going on there. And so instead of,
Yeah.
yeah, but also I keep going back to, like, obviously this is dependent on my town of 150 people. Like this is all I think depends
It's
on my
Mayberry.
tribe. Yeah,
Yeah.
in Mayberry, in my Mayberry town of 150 people, this is what I would like. I would want the community to handle their own problems.
You could, I mean, you could still do something real similar to that where you just, if you live at Harry and St. Francis, that the police in that area go, they've got to live between Lincoln and Pawnee,
Yeah.
Broadway. Like you could still do something similar to that.
But then you're going to have to get into targeted hiring practices, which would make you possibly the critique would be is that you're diluting the pool just to get people that live there. Almost like the same critique of affirmative action, which I don't agree with. But there is a partial argument there that you don't want to lower the standards just to meet your quota of people
Yeah.
that live from there. Well, I think you should get the best people, but I think you should get the best people from everyone. I think you should get the best people from everywhere. Like even if the best people happen to all look like, whatever fill in the blank is, well, I think you should also get a best representative of everyone. And the standard needs to be the standard, sure, but maybe not make an impossible standard. Maybe have a more realistic standard. Maybe make a more, maybe make a standard based on the actual job expectations.
Yeah. Well, when's the last time did you ever run a mile and a half
you know,
on patrol?
or, wait a second, let me do these push ups. One, two, my chest didn't go down far enough.
Yeah. I mean, I do think you have to have some standard. You have to be able to not have a heart attack when you do have a fight or when you do have
Yes.
a suspect run. But does it have to be a mile and a half in 15 minutes? Probably not.
No, but I think it shouldn't be a year, and that's the most gracious. I don't think it should be a year since you've had any training on what to do whenever a hands-on situation happens.
For sure.
And I would say it usually goes a lot longer than a year for most law enforcement officers. But
Yeah.
I think I want you to be proficient at your job, man. Whatever your job entails, I want you to have a rudimentary understanding of that job, homie. So if that means how to handle someone who's physically maybe non-compliant, maybe not a threat, but just physically, no, I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to put my hands behind your back. I need to know that you know what to do besides pull out your gun.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I saw a video on, I think it was TikTok. It might have been Instagram of a cop that he's small stature, but you can tell he's pretty confident. Looks
Uh-huh.
like he may be a wrestler. And he's putting this guy in handcuffs. He's at a gas station there at the pumps. He's putting this guy in handcuffs, and the guy, he's a bigger guy, certainly a lot taller, and he's like tensing up, and you can see the officers like, "Don't tense up, man, don't tense up." And the guy turns around, and this guy, he reminded me of Mike Tyson's Punch Out. You got
Uh-huh.
your character. I don't remember his name.
Yeah.
He like just reaches up and punches the dude, knocks
Yeah.
him out with one shot.
Yeah.
Boom, knocks him down, puts the handcuffs on him.
I think I've seen that
Nope.
video. I think that video is making the rounds.
Nobody got shot. Nobody got hurt. Nobody got
Somebody did probably get some brain damage. Light brain
just some
damage.
light brain damage.
Yeah, light
I
brain
mean, come
damage.
on. We've all got to get some brain damage.
Yeah. God knows I've had my share. Um I want to ask you, have you heard of this guy? I do want to go to the news on this one. Oh, Al Jazeera had the best news article on it. While my 1989 laptop computer loads. Have you heard of the Israeli official that was swooped up in an ICAC sex sting in Las Vegas?
Yeah, but it's not clear to me what exactly was going on with that. I've heard that we allowed him to leave.
Yeah. So Tom Alexandrovich is uh a member of the Israeli government. He's a head of this technology department that's involved in their intelligence, different apparatuses, but he's like a technology guy who works for Intel. He works for the Israeli government. He brought condoms in his pocket to meet what was told to him was a 15-year-old girl at a hotel in Las Vegas. Well, he was arrested by a joint team of like their ICAC team. It's
Mhm.
exactly what it was, their ICAC team. So there was some federal agents, but like a conglomeration of different state and local agents
Mhm.
um, swooped him up. He evidently demanded to speak with the consulate, with the embassy, was released 2 hours after being booked, and then wasn't given any travel restrictions. He did have a $10,000 bond, and he quickly flew to Israel as quick as he could.
Mhm.
And that's where he is now.
And what was his job? Why was he was a government official?
Yeah, he was the head of a tech. See if it listed in this article. I've read it a few times, but I'm gonna see if it listed in this article by Al Jazeera. Uh, no, it doesn't say. But what I've read it before is he was like the head of a technology department that was working for their intel services. So it doesn't flat out say Mossad. I'm sure they have more than one type of intel service there, but he was the head of a technology department for their for one of their intel services. And he
Okay.
was in the United States on official government business, and while he was here he got caught putting his hand in the cookie jar, and the US allowed him to leave without these travel restrictions. He did have to bond out, and he flew to Israel, not making his court date that he had here.
I mean, that sounds
Well,
if our politicians can do it, I don't know why they can't.
here's the thing that's gonna seem a little obvious, maybe a little too on the nose. You tell me. My critique of Epstein and why Epstein is still such a big deal, because it appears to me that there are rules for a different group of people. There are different sort of rules for a different group of people, up to and including you protecting them over the health and safety of the children, like minors,
Yeah.
victims, sexual victims. Like you think their safety and their freedom, their liberty is more important than the health and wellness of it shouldn't have to be important that it's American girls, but in these instances it was American children, American minors. Like why Epstein is a big deal is it seems like you're willing to protect them over the own American people. And that's a wild conspiracy cuckoo. Except it happens again.
Yeah. No, it's I mean I think that's the proven track record is that there are different classes, and depending on what class you belong to, there's different rules for you, different laws.
You would hope that Palantir would be able to predict. I have I have a clue that you can put in Palantir. Maybe you should watch everyone. Nah. But yeah, there is Tom Agabongamovich Alexandrovich uh was arrested, released a couple hours later, and quickly flew back to Israel.
Now, I wonder, it's easy, you know, uh, with it being a foreign leader, a foreign politician.
Official.
It's easy to really lock onto it, but I wonder what would have happened if it was somebody from Ohio? Would he have travel restrictions? Would
Yes.
he
So
not?
there was this judge, this American judge that was commenting to Al Jazeera, and he said it seems fishy. He said average Joe gets arrested He would appear in front of a justice of the peace within 24 hours. The justice of the peace in that county would issue a bail condition, which would include a GPS device on a crime like this, restrictions on movement, not being allowed to leave the state. So
Okay.
if Joe from Ohio got arrested in this sting, and he had the 10 grand to bond out on, these would be the conditions. Is that he'd have to appear in front of the justice within 24 hours, probably be given a GPS device, and wouldn't be allowed to leave the state.
Okay. But not this guy.
But not this guy. Uh, you can imagine there might be some exception. Like maybe he is a 007 character. Like maybe it is national interest where this guy just has to leave. Maybe there is some wild story. But we don't know that for sure. The only things that we know for sure is that he is an employee of the government of Israel. He was he showed up to the hotel with condoms under the pretense of meeting a 15-year-old girl. He was going to commit this sex crime. And then he was allowed to leave under pretty favorable, not normal conditions. And he went to Israel where he's being protected from extradition. Israel doesn't have American extradition laws. Like
Really?
they don't have to extradite. They're not a must extradite state. And there's actually a pretty big track record of American pedophiles fleeing to Israel and being protected from their extradition laws. Like you can Google that on your own.
That surprises me that with as chummy as we are with Israel, that they wouldn't extradite.
Yeah, there's a bunch of exceptions that they have just from American standards, definitely. Like what they do with the money that we give them, they have a lot more liberties than say like you and I have with our own tax dollars and our own health system. Um, they don't have to abide by any nuclear weapons inspections or any nuclear treaty inspections. They don't have to abide by any international organization. There's a lot of allegations saying that they stole the nuclear weapons that they do have. They stole them from the U.S. government in the 1960s, and that was part of the reason that JFK didn't like them. Um, they're they yeah, and they commit genocide. The government of Israel. I'm not saying all of the people of Israel. The Lednu Party, I think is what it's called. Netanyahu's political party in Israel has just been. I mean, we're at the final stages. They said that they've come out and said that they're just going to take all the land. So they started at this whole Gaza problem started at self defense to we're just going to destroy the whole place just because we have to now, yeah, we're going to take everything and kick everyone out. So, like from the very beginning, the big critics of this was saying, "Oh, this is just a regime change land grab. Like we see that you're just trying to finish this genocide. Oh no, 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 we're not committing a genocide. Committed a genocide over the course of 3 years.
Yeah, no, that's not what we're doing right here.
Oh look, this genocide happened. Well, no use crying over
You got
spilled
to crack
milk.
some eggs if you're going to make an omelet.
Yeah.
And you're going to have to change some regimes every now and again.
Is there? I mean, what's the responsibility that you have? I struggle with, or I don't struggle with this. I think about this often, but just maybe you Justin or you Joe, whatever, Joe guy or Joe girl. What's the responsibility you have when you're in America? You have access to the things that a normal American citizen has access to, and our police force is largely quickly becoming automated, like Big Brother 1984 style, where there's AI tracking your license plates, tracking in the future predictive crimes. Um, we have the complete politicization of the Justice Department. We saw it on both sides. We saw the liberals do the same thing that the Republicans are doing. We just live in this crazy world of Yeah, child predators that are in the employ of foreign governments that hold sway over America's government, and to the point where they have a completely different set of rules. I mean,
Mhm.
to the point where they're willing to sacrifice our children.
Yeah. What's our responsibility?
What's your response?
In terms of everything else, take everything else except for like I don't know what to do about the elite of
Holy fucking shit! There's a giant spider here. Sorry.
I don't know what to do about the elite from, you know, whatever country having a different set of rules, a different set of standards.
Yeah.
Um, in terms of like, what do you do about the surveillance and all that kind of stuff? I'm kind of a big fan of just
Oh
don't.
fuck! Don't jump. Oh,
Is he getting you?
he jumped right at me. I sprayed him. Oh, you're gonna go down, sir. It's just a matter of time. Fuck.
Did you have
Sorry.
to kill it?
Uh, you know, maybe not, but I feel like for my own safety, maybe he was gonna
He was a
ambush me.
threat,
Well,
maybe.
maybe it's a self-fulfilling prophecy because after I started spraying him, he sure did jump at me.
Well, because you tried to kill him.
Yeah.
I would do the same.
So was I smart in getting him first?
No, that's predictive policing.
Mmm. Mmm.
Dude didn't even do anything and you killed him.
Yeah, but after all I was trying to do was trying to talk to him and
Didn't
all I
even
was doing was Terry stuff.
didn't even threaten to do anything.
I think I think you were kind of getting there, or maybe along the same lines. Jeez. I think uh I think a responsibility we have is to talk about it. Like I because I know really you gotta work. You gotta work, you gotta pay bills, the kids gotta go to school, you have to remember your doctor's appointment, like you're doing a whole lot even if you're aware of this. But
Hmm.
if you are aware of it, I think it's worth talking about, or maybe it's at least, yeah, just being aware of. Maybe you could maybe you could talk about it. Maybe you could just make others aware of it. Like, hey, there's an atrocity going on in the world. Did you
Yeah.
know that? Like, there's a whole group of people that are being destroyed. Like right now, their city was leveled.
Are you looking over your shoulder for that spider?
It's right. It's right there. I wish I could show it. Ooh. It's soaking in the spray that I baptized it in.
Yeah.
Is that bad?
Uh,
That's not bad karma for me to kill that spider, is it?
well, I'll be real honest with you.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I've been trying to not kill anything lately.
Yeah,
Um,
that's a good practice.
yeah, it makes me feel a little bit better
But
than everybody else.
if I showed you this, surely there's some exceptions. Like, is there a spider? Because I'm contained to this area. I don't have freedom of movement, right?
Okay.
I like this thing can go wherever he wants to. I'm not forcing him to be here. This spider is as big as the palm of my hand.
No, he's not.
Yeah, he is.
I do not believe you.
He's as big as
You're full
oh
of shit.
Lord, he's moving again.
Should put point the camera at him. I want to see this.
I can't. Oh, this poison's getting to him. He's dancing in the spirit. Yeah.
At least take a picture.
Breathe.
At least take a picture with your phone because I do not believe you.
Breathe. Imagine imagine the spiders from Eight-Legged Freaks, the movie.
I don't know
And
what that
that's
is.
oh. Well, he's on the other side of the grill now, so we're good to continue our conversation. Please carry
Good,
on.
good, good. What I was gonna say is, like, I just feel like the world is really big, and people
Yeah.
don't have to know what you're doing, and just don't tell people what you're doing, and nobody's gonna do surveillance on you for the most
Yeah.
part.
But the reason I want people to talk about it because I want that deputy, I want that officer to see someone from church and be like, "Hey, I'm glad you're one of the good ones, even. Like, I want him to hear something like that. I'm glad you don't target people just on how they look. Thanks for being one of the good ones. I'm glad you question orders that might sound suspicious. I'm glad you do that. Thank you. You know what I mean? I want them to be in a community. Yeah, I don't know. That's where I want them to be. I want there to be a world where, like, we know. Like, I want Netanyahu to know that the world knows what you're doing, dude, and the world does not approve.
Yeah.
The universe does not approve of your actions.
Unfortunately, I think that yeah, certainly most people don't, but the world at large, the rulers at large, I think it's pretty obvious that that they do approve, you know?
Mm,
You and I don't, our
they
neighbors don't,
condone it at
normal
least.
people don't, but they look the other way.
Yeah. But some people even enable it. Some people even abet it, abet these actions by letting them go on and facilitating them. There's a group. This will all be cut out. There's a group called the World Economic Forum. And the World Economic Forum is not a governing body per se, as much as it is a group of the richest people in the world, like the heads of industry, the CEOs from all of the big fortune companies get together in these annual meetings. It's usually in Switzerland or Sweden or somewhere. And it's this group called the World Economic Forum. And what they do is they determine agendas and goals and directions of the world economy. These are
Okay.
these are people that like Alex Jones refers to as globalist, but
Okay.
people like Larry Fink, the CEO of BlackRock, and it's not just him. It's all the other CEOs and all the other billionaires in the world. They get together and say, like, hey, we want to transition from fossil fuels to electronic, to EVs. Can we do that? Well, if we do, we need this amount of policy. Hey, can you affect the political leaders in your country? I can affect the leaders in my country. Like, they get together, they discuss policy. These are the leaders of all of the lobbyist groups, or they definitely
Are
are the biggest donors to these lobby groups. Go ahead.
are they appointed? How are they, how do they come into this group?
So they're invited into the group, but I think it's like I said, all the members of the group are titans of industry. The um the CEO of BlackRock was just appointed the head of the World Economic Forum. So I don't think like I said, this isn't a government group that can fine, they're not gonna fine ExxonMobil for not playing along. But they do, like I said, they agree on the direction of the world economy.
Well, they might not find anybody, but if they're the ones pushing policy, then they can surely uh, hamstring them.
So this is the Illuminati. Like this is not a secret. This is the real group of people that control the direction of the world. Like if these are the people that say, "Hey, we don't like Russia's independence, so we're going to box them out of the world's economy on X, Y, and Z." Deal, deal. We don't like that Iran is independent on this, whatever. So like these are the people that make those decisions. A lot of the ESG that I was talking about earlier, the environmental safety agendas, um, came from the World Economic Forum. There was a guy, Carl Schwab. Have you heard of him?
No.
Oh, well, he was one of these guys, World Economic Forum guys, and he was pretty popular like in the last 5 or 10 years for saying things like he said like some outrageous things like everyone will be poor and they'll be happy, like talking
Okay.
about or like people will eat bugs, like, oh, we're going to learn how to eat bugs and you're going to enjoy it, like saying just this outrageous thing, these outrageous world goals. But a lot of the yeah, like I said, a lot of the social engineering stuff comes from the World Economic Forum. The Larry Fink, the leader of, he's also the CEO of BlackRock. Why that's important, we've talked about him many times on here, is there's three companies that own over 80% of the world's economy. And what I mean is I've heard this explained as companies that are traded on Wall Street, companies that are traded on the stock market.
Okay.
80% of those companies are owned in some way or another by either BlackRock, Vanguard, or State Street. These three companies, it's usually a combination of them. BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street, the companies themselves are actually owned by each other. What this is a very clever ploy on bypassing all the monopoly laws in the United States, because it's not one company that owns everything. It's these three companies, and these three companies aren't even owned by one person. Well, kind of the definitely the big chair at that table is BlackRock. So in BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street, the main decision maker is BlackRock. The CEO of BlackRock is this guy, Larry Fink. Larry Fink was recently appointed as the head of the World Economic Forum. Um, yeah, I don't know why. I just thought that we'd have a lot to go on with this.
Well, here's a question.
Go ahead.
Does the head of the World Economic Forum, is it likely that they're going to make decisions that would benefit their pockets,
Yeah,
would
that's
benefit their endeavors?
so one of their stated goals was world capitalism, and the when they broke that down, the top of it was return to shareholders. So like their number one goal, don't get it twisted, playa. No matter how much we're trying to make the world a better place, the number one goal is a return to the shareholders.
Yeah.
Like, yes, thank you for investing in us. We're going to return the favor. So you would ask, how then do they do that? Like, does a company in a capitalist society ever reach a point where something's good enough?
I don't know. I don't think that you really can in this system.
Yeah, maybe.
And I mean, I'm not saying that capitalism is that it's wrong, that I've got a problem with it, but yeah, I don't think, you look at somebody like Quick Trip, the
Yeah,
best gas station out here by far. But they still have to be innovative. They're doing new things because they're still trying to be better and better and better. You
yeah,
really can't. I don't know that in I don't know that you could really rest and not try to make more and more and more and more.
yeah, yeah. And that's one of the flaws that you can see. I don't know. I'm sure there is a name for it, but I don't know the name of it. But that's one of the flaws of uh kind of an unbridled capitalist society is gains are going to be inherently above all. Like above the health and welfare of the people, gains are going to be prioritized in a society that's built strictly on the rules of a free market society. And we say that we're a free market society. In a lot of ways, we are. But I think in a lot of ways, we have a lot of humane checks and balances. One of them being like a social welfare system for your retired people, or for disabled veterans, or for the disabled people in your society. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Um, yeah, VA healthcare is a form of socialism that's a separation from that free market society. Yeah. So you don't want maybe you don't want the head of your government to run it like a Fortune 500 company, because maybe a government shouldn't be a Fortune 500 company.
Right.
Maybe, just maybe.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, as soon as you start putting profits and return to shareholders as the top priority,
Yeah.
well, that's once people are no longer the top priority,
Well,
I think you've
and
got real problems.
here's the deal too, and I don't know if I'm doing a great job of articulating it, or even if I can, like in our limited platform. But like I said, these are the Illuminati. Like these are the people who really run the world. Like you don't think they could shut down oil to the United States if the United States wasn't playing by their rules? You don't think they could turn off the power grids? They could.
Yeah, I think they could cripple us real quick.
They sure could. Like say these are the people that has us, the United States, the world by the short and curlies. Like if there's something that they wanted to do, they could do it, including go to a hotel in Las Vegas to meet a 15-year-old with a pocket full of condoms.
Hmm.
And guess what? I get nabbed. Peace. I'm held to different rules than y'all, playa. I'm out of
Yeah.
here. But these are, I mean, it's not a conspiracy. It's not, I'm not saying there's someone who do secret hand signals that go to a shadowy room. I'm talking about the World Economic Forum. Like we can name the people who are there. And their goals, their number one goal is a return to shareholder. They are controlling Palantir. They are controlling the law enforcement. They are controlling the military industrial complex. They are controlling the information industrial complex. You know what I mean? All the stuff that Facebook and social media plays into, all the intel harvesting that they're doing. That's all for them.
Hmm.
These are the people. You know, I don't think we're making enough noise to get their attention. But if you want to know, right? Because that's one of the things I think is human nature to know, like who's really pulling the strings. Well, this is it. These are the people
Yeah.
who are doing it.
Yeah. But what do you like? So you talk about talking about it. Yeah, that's really what you can do. Um, I don't know. So what kind of responsibility do you have knowing that?
Well, maybe whatever our responsibility is, I think there is still a civil, like even as I'm entering this hippie phase of life, of like just live and let live, man. I still think there is. I still feel a responsibility to like write my congressman, or you know what I mean, to talk about it wherever I can. Talk about it, yeah, at church. Talk about it at the pool with my neighbors. Talk about it on the podcast with my homie. Like I still like I don't want to roll over.
Hmm.
I don't want to just take it. I don't want us to go down this road. I still think there's an option. I don't think we have to just accept this, oligarchy as in like only the rich and powerful people rule everything. We know that we have power because I feel like they're afraid of us. I feel like they're afraid because there's so like that's why there's so much pressure to crush dissent, to crush rebellion, to crush wrong thought, because they're afraid of thought. They're afraid of free speech. They're afraid of criticism. That's the reason why it's becoming illegal to criticize certain governments. That's not even your own government. It's becoming illegal to do that because they're afraid of that criticism. That's why. Yeah,
So you and I really can't do anything, but
no.
you and I and a whole bunch of other people maybe can. You know, so maybe banding together, maybe
Or
some sort of
maybe like
unity.
whenever they want to kick off the next war, like Obama ran into this when Obama wanted to invade Syria the first time in like 2014. The collective country was like, no, we do not want a war when Obama wanted to invade Syria. Uh that's what the goal should be. Like, yeah, I want
But how's that heard? How did
social
Obama know?
media, social
Okay.
media, and yeah, however your voice is heard, writing your congressman, talk about it at the water cooler, social media. They pay attention.
Yeah.
The companies, I mean, this isn't a conspiracy like SEO, search engine optimization. They track what people search for. We're not,
Yeah.
real estate agents ain't the only ones trying to increase their search engine clicks.
Right.
Palantir is paying attention to that also, and they got algorithms that are light years, being powered by supercomputers that are trying to find. Also, the goal of any government is to stay in power. Like we've talked about that on here too. It's
Yeah. To exist.
yeah, to exist. That's their goal, is to exist and to find more reason to exist. Like especially if you can start to poke holes in the existing reasons. Well, yeah, that and this.
Yeah.
Like, look at all these domestic terrorists you have. I need to protect you from yourselves.
Yeah.
I don't know. But so just try to be a good person and talk about it.
Well, yeah. And also, I don't know, maybe just be open-minded.
Yeah,
I think I think that's one of the things that you and I have over the past year or so. I think we've become more open-minded politically,
definitely.
and just with world situations. Like, oh, maybe I don't know maybe I didn't have everything figured out. Maybe I don't. Um, maybe
Yeah.
just being willing to be wrong, being willing to
Well,
change your mind.
yeah, exactly. Be honest. I think that's honesty. Like, it's gone to, obviously we've talked about it ab nauseum with our theological deconstruction, but I've heard it referred to a couple times, and I think it's true that it's Socratic thought. Like just to yeah, I mean, we're just saying the same things over and over. The question, like, is this what I really believe? The classic examples was like bravery. Like, oh, Socrates would ask like a general, what do you think the best virtue is? And he'd be like, the general would say, I think it's bravery is the best virtue a man can have. Like, oh, what does that mean? So today, that would be an example of like, what do you think the best virtue is? I think social justice is the best virtue. Well, what does that mean? And get down to where you like honestly question these foundational truths of like, man, am I basing everything off of the Ten Commandments? Do I really think that this,
Hmm.
I'm not gonna have this story for you, but it's a dialogue that every person should have with themselves. And eventually you get down to questioning if you want a group of shadowy people to be making the decisions for literally every living soul on earth.
Hmm. I saw a deal, an advertisement on Facebook actually for like I don't remember what it was called, but it's essentially a group where like people just get together that disagree on things and they
Yeah.
just talk.
Yeah.
Like it's a group that gets together to learn what another side of the topic has to think about things. And it seems really interesting. I
I've
I'm
been part of a
tempted.
few groups like that on Facebook, but it never really took off.
Yeah. Well, these
Yeah.
I feel like I'm pretty sure this is a an in-person thing.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I'm interested in that. I need to look it up, see if I can find more information on it, and I don't know, maybe join it. Because I also still want to go. I still want to go to Unitarian service. I want to go
Yeah.
to a Islam service. I want to go to
Huh.
a Hindu service. Like there's a lot of uh, things that a lot of people that I want to meet and
Yeah.
ideas that I want to be exposed to, and uh,
Amen.
just kind of hear what other people are thinking.
You're thinking outside the walls. You're thinking outside the barriers. Almost like you ain't got no walls anymore.
That's right, brother.
All right, so we're gonna do a Kansas story, an Alabama story, and then an animal attack story. I'm afraid the animal attack story I have is kind of a bummer. So we're gonna ask Chet for a different animal attack story.
Doesn't an animal attack story kind of have to be a bummer?
Well, this one the kid died.
What was he doing?
He
Did he
got
did he have it coming?
he got caught in the wrong place at the wrong time. Ten dogs killed him.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, he got what so he was kind of found and he was rushed to the hospital. They thought it was gunshot wounds, but it turned out to be puncture wounds from canines.
Holy cow. Were they wild dogs?
Yeah, feral dogs.
Okay. Where was that?
Well, let me go down here. Skipperville, Alabama. Skipperville, Alabama. Happened in 2023. Surveillance footage revealed the whole attack. This is initially mistaken for a gunshot. Was actually caused by a pack of dogs. 10 dogs were ultimately euthanized after the death of was ruled canine inflicted sharp trauma.
Hmm.
What's your go-to move? Okay, first, what's your go-to move for fighting a dog? And we'll go with, yeah, 40 pounds or heavier. 50
Uh,
pounds. 50 pounds
kick
or heavier.
kick them in the face.
Okay.
That's my first that's my first move.
For real. So there's a dog, he's slobbering at you and he's gonna jump. What do? You
Kick
boot
him in
him.
the face. Yeah.
Boot him hard.
Yeah.
Okay. He's gonna do a backflip, maybe yelp. Then what? He's gonna turn back around at you and show them chompers.
I mean, it depends.
If he's thinking of, he's seriously second guessing
He
going
better be.
back. Yeah.
He better be. I'll tell you this much that our canines, our police dogs,
Uh-huh.
like for as much as they liked to fight, to be um, to bite and to be aggressive, or however you want to say it, uh, they you could scare them. Like if you didn't, depending on how you reacted, you could shut them down to where even they wouldn't want any, like they would go into avoidance to where they didn't want anything to do with fighting.
Uh-huh.
So I'm pretty sure that a regular
You
dog,
saw that happen?
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Uh, so I'm pretty sure like a regular dog, I think that you could get in his brain, you could get in
Yeah.
his mind, and you could make him second guess his toughness
I think
real
a
quick.
size 12 steel toe will do that to a pup.
My freaking 11 and a half bands
Yeah.
to the face, or these little puppies right here, Crocs,
Hello.
Crocs to
Crocs
the
ain't doing
face.
it. Sorry. Crocs ain't doing it.
No, man, I think it
They're gonna
would.
go, "Wait, ah!" They're gonna go they're gonna bounce off the dog's canine.
Uh, yeah, that's what I'm doing. And then honestly, if that doesn't work, two things from there. I'm gonna try to choke it. If I can't choke it,
Just prison rape, like wrap your hands around it and
yep.
squeeze.
And then if I can't choke it, I'm gonna take a stick and I'm gonna gag the dog.
Yeah.
Now, allegedly, I don't know if I'll just say it. We used to carry a gag stick.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and that's a technique. If your dog is on someone and there's a lot of commotion going on, he's in his drive, you can't get a release. You just take the gag stick, gag him, and then pull back. Um, because that like they can't not.
I've seen that not work a few times. The
Oh,
gag
really?
stick. Yeah. On well, maybe it worked. It took a lot of coercion. Like they had to really find the right spot
Yeah.
to get it
Was
in
that
there.
was that when a deputy got bit by a city dog? Or when was that?
Maybe no, that was I think a deputy got bit by a deputy dog.
Okay.
I was gonna tell you, man, I had a friend, or I have a friend. She's a younger WPD gal. She's trying to get on the canine team, so she's obviously like volunteering, training with the canine team all the time. She took one of the retired dogs home, uh, and it turned on her recently and chewed her up pretty good, and
Oh no.
she has to get stitches. Luckily, she says nothing like there's no permanent damage, thank God. But they put the dog down.
Yeah.
Uh, she had a rescue dog that was, I guess, was one of the WPD dogs, and it turned
Yeah.
on her.
I mean, yeah, those dogs can be dangerous. They're not oftentimes they don't make good pets.
Yeah, it sucks.
What would you do?
Well, I've been trained to always feed him my arm because I was just the bite dummy.
Yeah.
So I would give him my arm, but I've been told, and I kind of have seen this definitely in retrospect, like dogs on the street don't seem like they're gonna bite and hold on. They're just gonna bite and release.
And they're also probably going to go for your legs.
Yeah, they'll go for the legs, whatever's closest to them.
Hmm.
Uh, so then I want to just King Kong them. I've done that with dogs before, and it's been pretty effective. Like I've had a dog latch onto my arm and just pick it up, and it might stay on. Sure, it'd have to be very well trained, very disciplined dog to stay
Yeah.
on.
As soon as his feet left the ground, nature would make him want to
Like, oh
drop.
shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, Donkey Kong a dog, like pick him up and bounce him off the street. And I'm not above. Actually, I think it would be a very I would look for an opportunity to use a dog as a weapon against another dog. Like grab it in combination of its tail and legs and swing
Now,
that
just
motherfucker.
just just to be really, really clear, in case anybody doesn't know, you're not talking about a service dog that you've done this to. You're not talking about a pet.
No,
You're
I'm
talking
talking
about
about getting jumped.
situations where you've been attacked by a dog.
God forbid, I'm not here to make light, but if I find myself in Skipperville, Alabama, and there's 10 dogs surrounding me, I'm going home, brother. Okay?
One of us is going home,
Yeah,
and I guarantee it's going to be me.
it is me. I don't know how many of you 10 are making it home. I guarantee you it's not 10. Like
Yeah.
this number is going to be going down. It's up to you, fellas, how much this number goes down.
Yeah. So, I mean, either one, yeah, you got to use one dog to fight off the others, or you just got to be just like,
Just Jackie Chan, Bruce Lee,
just,
rolling
yeah,
fist,
that's
Itman.
right.
You've got to go.
Speed bag them.
Okay. So I got three stories. They're all cartel related because that's what I looked for. And I got three in Kansas and three in Alabama. Our options in Kansas are liquid meth smuggled in by bus, uh, high value fentanyl and meth bust in Geary County, or three Mexican nationals received hefty federal prison sentence in Kansas City for nearly $5 million meth and heroin distribution conspiracy case. One Jesus Morales Garcia got 18 years. Dang.
Where was the bus with the liquid meth? Where was that headed?
This was I'm going to pull this up from justice.org or justice.gov. Sorry. Yep. And there's the other one. Let me X that one. Okay. Kansas City, Kansas. 6 people have been charged by criminal complaint. Blah, 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 blah. According to court documents, the following defendants were charged with possession and intent to distribute 500 grams or more of methamphetamine. It names the people, Mexican national, Troy Wagaman, 42 of Emporia, Jesus Rodriguez, 28 of Emporia, um, Moises Sanchez of Texas, and an Elizabeth Benitez of Emporia. Um, and
And Troy.
and Troy Wagaman. Troy, you're
Oh,
hanging out.
Troy, come on, buddy.
I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say that you're hanging out with a group of people that might be coercing you to do some things. A license plate reader was used, showed that a bus traveling to Emporia on all trips before returning to Mexico during one crossing. A CBP officer conducted a secondary inspection and found several aftermarket anomalies. Okay, let me go back and read this. So in March and April 2025, it says between March and April 2025, US CBP noted a charter bus. So they noted the bus making multiple crossings into the United States from Mexico carrying few or no passengers. So this bus was driving from Mexico to Kansas City with little or no passengers. license plate reader information, probably Flock or another one that we know. Picked it up, showed the bus traveling to Emporia and returning to Mexico. During one crossing, CBP officers conducted a secondary inspection, found several aftermarket anomalies, including bolts around the fuel tank that had been tampered with. Investigators learned the bus's destination to be a rural property in Emporia. When the bus, so it looks like they let it go after they found all these aftermarket compartments. The bus again arrived in the U.S. border on May 25, so they kicked it in between March and April, and it came back in May. Canine alerted the presence of a controlled substance. CBP took a sample of a substance found in the gas that tested as liquid methamphetamine. The driver was allowed to proceed, and Homeland Security agents followed the bus, which eventually arrived at the real property. The Emporia Police Department arrested Wagaman, Troy, Villa Carranza, Rodriguez, Sanchez, and Rangel. While the men were either at the property were at the property or shortly after leaving. I don't know. That's typo. Benitez, who lived with Carranza, was also arrested at a different location. So maybe this is direct evidence against what we just spent the last hour and 45 minutes talking about. Maybe this is a license plate reader and Big Brother.
I mean, like I can see if I was still a cop, I think I would be a lot more supportive of it.
Yeah,
Um,
good job, fellas.
I actually I stopped a charter bus out of Mexico one time that I was pretty sure had something. It was northbound on the turnpike.
I thought they were all dirty. Every single one
Couldn't
I
find
found.
this one. I don't think it was a party bus, I think is what it was.
Uh,
Story just didn't make sense. It was two people, man and woman, driving this bus all by themselves. Didn't make sense, but that's a daunting task to search a bus. Like it's hard enough. It's hard enough to search a car, and be able to find compartments or just natural voids.
yeah.
Really hard on a bus that size.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's gonna be very time consuming. Like you
Yeah,
pack a lunch kind of thing.
yeah.
Um, there is a suspected Sinaloa cartel drug trafficker arrested after shooting at a woman on the interstate. Some of these people, that obviously they're somewhat under the influence of drugs. Like I guess you have to assume this guy was high on meth, but also they travel with a sort of a sense of immunity that maybe a law enforcement officer would travel with here in the States. Like
Eh,
he was just comfortable enough to start shooting at this woman that pissed him off.
Yeah.
Um, Limestone County Sheriff's Office arrested a man suspected of being a member of the Sinaloa cartel after he was accused at shooting at a woman on I-65 near the Alabama-Tennessee line. Let's see. Deputies responded to a call woman who reported Joel Cespedes. I'm sure I'm not pronouncing that right. A self-proclaimed Sinaloa cartel drug trafficker. Like, just so you know,
Sinaloa dog.
I'm also a Sinaloa cartel drug trafficker. I was going to talk about that. The Sinaloa cartel is splintering even more. It really happened. We saw that kind of happen. Some of it when El Chapo was arrested, but they've been turning on it. Like it's all internal fighting now. And this
Wasn't was it NGC?
CNJ, the new generation Jalisco cartel.
Yeah, that was a spinoff, wasn't it, of
Yeah.
Sinaloa?
Well, what it was, what the new generation Jalisco cartel was actually an enforcer unit that belonged to the Sinaloa cartel, but they were Zeta members. Like the Zetas pimped out some of their own enforcers to
The Zetas were enforcers for Sinaloa, right?
yes, yes. The Zetas were also trained by Fort Bragg Special Forces. That's a Freedom of Information Act released now. I don't think it was intended to be like the U.S. Army Special Operations guys trained members of the Mexican military. And what happened is as soon as they left Fort Bragg and went back to Mexico, they then began their career as Sinaloa
Mhm.
cartel Zetas. That was the birth of the Zetas, was they were Mexican special forces. But yeah, when El Chapo was arrested, CNJ, the new generation, like said, "Hey, fuck you guys, we can do this all on our own." And at that point, Sinaloa was just mostly infighting. Now some of the Sinaloa Sons have arrested like high-ranking members of the cartel that weren't. Some of the El Chapo Sons have like story is like double crossed and brought in some of the other Sinaloa cartel members. So they're all kinds of
Hmm. Did you listen to what's his name? Manifesto Radio.
Ed Calderon on Joe Rogan.
Yeah,
Yeah, I did.
I listened to about half of it.
Yeah,
Interesting stuff.
pretty good. But anyway, yeah, the other stories was just highway interdiction, large stops in Kansas and Alabama. Oh, one of the ones in Alabama was a prison guard was doing it, was bringing some stuff in.
Did you? I think we did. We talk about the bust here in Wichita, or actually Hayesville, a couple weeks ago, where it was cartel related.
No,
Did we not? I think that there's. I don't know that people really understand or would believe that there are actual bona fide cartel members in America,
yeah,
in Wichita.
yeah, for sure. I targeted them.
Like, I I don't know. I don't think people understand that. I don't think people
I
would.
don't think people at the sheriff's office understand that.
Yeah, yeah, like legitimate members that just live here.
Yeah, and people with like violent histories, like violent arrests,
Hmm.
like own horse ranches up on the north part of Sedgwick County.
Hmm.
People, yeah, that are affiliate or that are known in investigations of murders, large drug trafficking operations.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know. That was crazy to me because I didn't know it. I didn't know it until fairly deep into my law enforcement. Uh, Come to find out that yeah, there are cartels here.
Yeah, for sure. Man, I think I think we're just going to have to realize that that's part of the American experiment too. Like the now it's the face of cartels, but it's always been some sort of organized crime. Some sort of organized crime, like even through the Revolutionary War, like smugglers were used. And in colonial America, there's always been some sort of organized crime that's been a part of the American story. Like through the Prohibition, it turned into the Italian mafia, you know.
Hmm.
And then in the 60s, involving JFK, there's Italian and Southern American, Central American organized crime came in then in the 60s, Cuba, Venezuela, all that. And to where now it's the face of it is predominantly Mexican, but there's still a lot of cartel, still a lot of South American criminal organization. Like that's just part of the American story now.
I mean, really, the best kind of crime is organized.
Yeah.
If you're going to be involved in crime, don't be
Disorganized.
like
Don't
take it serious.
get your ducks in a row is what we're
Yes,
telling you.
line them up. Get yourself a Dawn. Get yourself a shot caller. Get yourself a shooter. Get yourself whatever you got to get. But don't go
Uh-huh.
at it. Don't go at it half-assed. You you deserve better than that.
Yeah.
Listen, it's I got to get up real early, and it's past 11. It's past my bedtime, and
It sure is.
it's my fault, everybody. It's my fault for starting late. Um, but I got to get some
So
sleep.
good. We'll get this out. I'll catch up with you. I'll call you sometime this week and we'll catch up, all right?
Yeah, heck yeah.
All right.
All
Later.
right, see ya. Bye.